Welcome to the testing laboratory for today's explainer. I am your lead tester, and today we are embarking on a highly critical mission. We are systematically hunting down and busting the most viral online revision shortcuts, and we're going to stress test them live against the ultimate, unshakable authority, the official Cambridge mark schemes. Our specific target environment today is Cambridge AS and A-Level Mathematics 9709, and we are zeroing in on what is arguably one of the most notoriously unforgiving areas of the syllabus, Section 5.4, Discrete Random Variables. Specifically, we're talking about calculating expectation, or E of x, and variance, var of x. We're going to strip away the fluff, separate fact from fiction, and show you exactly how to secure your maximum possible score. Let's fire up the diagnostic consoles and dive right in.
So you have to ask yourself, are viral study hacks actually destroying your exam score? Well, if we look at the data, the answer is a resounding yes. Official Cambridge Examiner reports explicitly state that 5.4, discrete random variables, is consistently one of the absolute most misunderstood areas in the entire mathematics syllabus. And it's no wonder, right? The internet is just completely flooded with bad advice. Instead of relying on solid structural methodology, students are falling into massive traps. To help us test this today, we've brought in two test subjects to our lab, Tester Alex and Tester Sam. Alex represents the student who believes every viral social media revision shortcut, relying entirely on generic pre-written templates and overloading answers with irrelevant jargon. Sam, on the other hand, is our speedwriter, a student who thinks that rushing through calculations and using massive text blocks somehow compensates for completely ignoring the core command word of the prompt. Today, we are going to monitor Alex and Sam closely to see exactly what happens when these fake shortcuts collide with the harsh, undeniable reality of the mark scheme parameters.
Here is our rigorous, time-blocked blueprint for today's explainer. We'll start with our myth specifications, move into loading the target question, then enter the co-op stress testing lab. We'll have a brief security alarm pause, followed by the viewer lie detector arena, and wrap it all up with our final verdict. Phase 1, loading the cognitive target question. Okay, I'm flashing a highly complex, high-tariff Cambridge past paper question onto our primary testing screen right now. It's a classic setup requiring you to extract complex data from a table to find E of x and var of x. And right away, we are loading our first major exam myth into the testing apparatus. Look at the comparison on your screen. Item 1 is the viral lie we call page dumping. This is the toxic assumption that if you write more pages, do extra unasked-for calculations, or write massive blocks of generic text, you will automatically get more marks. On the other side, item 2 is the actual examiner's standard, analytical depth. The Cambridge Assessment Framework explicitly prioritizes this logical, structured reasoning over superficial breadth. When we run the page dumping strategy through our lab's mark volatility grid, the system instantly flashes red. Why? Because unstructured page dumping triggers an immediate penalty. If you just throw random variance formulas at the page without logical step-by-step reasoning tailored to the prompt, the mark scheme physically shuts you down. More ink does not equal more marks. In fact, it usually means you've completely lost the plot. To really understand why page dumping fails so spectacularly, we have to audit the cognitive domains targeted by the Cambridge assessment objectives. We're talking about the distinct areas of knowledge and understanding, application, and analysis. Our diagnostic metrics show that top-performing students absolutely do not rely on rote memory or generic shortcuts. Instead, they demonstrate a deeply connected conceptual understanding that they can transfer to totally unfamiliar contexts. Think about it. When calculating variance, top-tier students don't just blindly subtract the square of the mean from E of x squared because a viral video told them to. They understand the structural physics of the problem, they understand the causal relationships, and the intense precision required to apply these mathematical concepts to real-world scenarios. They carefully set up the exact probability distribution table required, actively demonstrating their cognitive depth, long before they ever touch a formula. Phase 2, the co-op stress testing lab. Let's see our subjects in action. We are now transitioning over to Tester Alex and Tester Sam at their diagnostic consoles. Right now, they are fiercely debating the structural physics of their writing blocks, trying to solve that complex 5.4 question using viral shortcuts. Above their consoles, I've projected the principal examiner warnings directly from the official reports. Warning 1, using the wrong approach for the wrong context. Warning 2, forgetting to check format and presentation conventions. Warning 3, submitting answers that are not specific to the given context. Listening in on their comms, Alex is desperately trying to shoehorn in a generic pre-written calculation template he memorized from a social media post, totally ignoring the actual variables of the question. Sam is writing at lightning speed, trying to compensate, but Sam realizes that without a direct, tailored analytical link to the specific command word, their entire paragraph structure is going to collapse under our examiner's stress testing. They are literally failing live because they're trying to force a standard formula without defining the specific, discrete, random variable first. By ignoring those cross-topic connections, the fundamental probability principles that Section 5.4 relies heavily upon, their foundation is cracking. Let's pull up a real-time matrix comparing their failing viral online hacks against the rigorous examiner standard. The contrast is absolutely staggering. Look at their structure. The viral hack produces scattered, chaotic paragraphs and disconnected calculations. The examiner standard demands proper headings and clear, logical progressions. Look at the language. Alex is throwing in irrelevant jargon just to sound smart, whereas the standard demands precise, correct mathematical terminology. And formatting? It's a disaster over there. Random scribbles won't cut it. Data interpretation in E of X and var of X demands clear annotation. You have to explicitly define your probability table layout before you start crunching the numbers. We can literally see their frameworks failing live right now because you simply cannot extract data and interpret relationships if your presentation conventions violate the mark scheme parameters.
Phase 3, Mid-Test Alarm and Security Transmission.
System pause. Before we blast away the biggest exam live this century and show you what actually wins marks, secure your academic defense network. Subscribe to AC Exams at AC Exams right now and turn on all notifications. No matter if you are tackling Cambridge, IGCSE, O-levels, AS, or A-levels, don't let bad study advice compromise your final results. We are triggering the neon lob warning lights to halt this test right now, right before the crew deploys their final paragraph patch, because they've hit a massive structural roadblock where their evidence has completely dropped out of compliance. As lead tester, I have to step in here. I'm overriding Alex and Sam's consoles and injecting a high-yield, bulletproof framework to replace their failing shortcuts. If you want top-band marks, you need this deconstruct, solve, evaluate methodology. It's essentially the Peel structure welded perfectly to complex mathematics. Let's rewrite their response out loud, line by line. Step 1, identify given information. Stop writing paragraphs and clearly define your sample space and probabilities based strictly on the text. Step 2, break into logical steps. We are setting up the probability distribution table with extreme clarity, no skip steps. Step 3, solve systematically. Now we deploy the E of X and var of X formulas, locking our data precisely to the analysis. Step 4, check for reasonableness. Do all your probabilities sum to 1? Is your calculated variance a positive number? If not, your logic broke. Step 5, make justified recommendations or conclusions heavily anchored to the specific context. By forcing Alex and Sam to modify their approach with this asset, their text blocks have gone from a failing grade to an unshakable top-band response.
Phase 4, the Interactive Viewer Lie Detector Arena.
Now I'm turning the focus directly to you for a high-pressure field audit. Welcome to Assessment 1, the Data Matrix Sweep. On the lab screen right now is a highly complex Cambridge text data layout. Imagine a 60-second visual countdown timer ticking away. Your challenge? You need to perform comparative analysis and extract the single highest-yielding trend. Can you extract those relationships and draw evidence-based conclusions? The trick here is that calculating E of X is useless if you don't know what it means contextually. You have to identify similarities and differences using comparative connectives. Are we calculating the expected financial gain of a game or the expected number of defective items in a batch? Anchoring your numerical answer to the real-world scenario with evidence-based reasoning is exactly what outscores fast, panicky writing every single time. Moving to Assessment 2, spot the fake shortcut. The biggest lie on the internet is that only the final answer matters. Let's locate the exact line where logic breaks down. I'm taking my digital marker to the lab screen. Look at this quote straight from the principal examiner. Students lose marks by not showing working. Even if your final answer is wrong, method marks can save you. When Alex and Sam tried to skip their step-by-step working to save time, right there, that exact blank space on the page is where their logic broke down and critical marks were instantly forfeited. The method mark strategy isn't just a suggestion. It is your ultimate safety net when the calculations get tough. Phase 5, the final verdict and outro. We've reviewed the final high-scoring text blocks with Alex and Sam, and our lab's Muth status bar is officially flashing busted for those viral hacks and confirmed for our structured methodology. To distill this entire masterclass down, there are 3 universal truths you absolutely must carry into your exam. First, the 3-step command word scan. You have to deconstruct, solve, and evaluate based strictly on what the prompt asks, not what a template tells you. Second, the mark per minute budget rule combined with our method mark strategy. Show every single logical step of your working because those method marks are your shield. And third, the post-writing quality audit. You have to survive the presentation conventions audit by defining your variables clearly and verifying your final formatting. The final verdict is locked in. Shortcuts are absolutely busted. Method marks and structured logic are confirmed. Remember, method marks are your ultimate defense against the volatility of the mark scheme. Do not let bad advice destroy your hard work. Subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams, hit that notification bell right now for our weekly myth-busting sessions, and drop a comment below sharing the absolute weirdest exam hack you've seen online so we can load it into the lab and test it next. Trust the math, stick to the structure, and I'll see you in the next explainer.